So today's kind of a big day. We got a lot of changing we're gonna make, and some of it may be a little bit early, but we've got pretty cold, nasty weather coming in. So we had already put this on, which is a moisture block, because with the temperatures going up and down, we noticed on the part that we just took off that there was condensation starting to build up. So this is just cedar chips and burlap, and then the bottom is exposed, the burlap is exposed. So that just helps keep the moisture out, because we don't need water and bees. It's not a good combination. As you can see, just in a few days they've already propolised it, and they are really active today. They're trying to get things done because it's gonna get cold, and they're trying to get the last bit of stuff that they can get, which isn't a whole lot. There's not a lot left in blossom right now. So as I said, my husband out. So this is the super. This is what collects honey. This yellow is the bee excluder. It keeps her from coming up into here. So we are going to actually, this will be coming off now. Usually this is where people have all their honey and it's all filled with all kinds of honey, but since we had a little hiccup with our queen, that kind of changed the dynamics. But there is honey in here, so we will have a little bit this year. But most of the honey they have put in this box here for them there. But you can see all of them up here trying to work really hard. I'm trying to get smoke going because we're going to really be messing with this hive a lot. So this is the queen excluder. This is the one that where the queen cannot get through, and so that way she doesn't put brood up in the honey. It's just honey. So we're going to give them some smoke, see if we can get some of them off of here, get them to go down, and that will be coming off and staying off. A good thing to do is always to put it down in front of your hive. That way they'll actually work themselves right up and back into the hive. So this is our reservoir that we've been putting our honey in, our bee juice as we call it. It's sugar water, and that we've been putting in all summer and stuff to help keep them fed. But it's time for it to come out because they won't eat that during the winter, and their reserves are actually all in here. Almost all of this is honey now, so the majority of their babies are down in this box. So this is the tricky thing though, is getting this thing out, because they've propolised it to this frame and everything else, so we kind of have to take the frame with it, and then we have to try to get all these bees that are in here out. So this may be leaving it out in front. And the only thing that we hope when we do this is that we don't get the queen with us, because there is a possibility she could be in there. And we don't want her to be in there. So while we work on this, this out. So here we go. Now one of the things that we're trying not to do is to roll any of the bees that are on the other side of this, because if it is the queen, it can hurt her. And so, ooh, look at that honey on there. So you can see that they've made all kept honey down in here. And that's what's going to help them get through the winter. That's what's going to feed them. And if you look on this side of this frame, it is all capped honey. Every bit of it. So, we're getting a little So they're going to start getting a little loud and a little
Here we go.
not so happy with us. And so get some smoke going. It's pretty windy out too, so the smoke's just kind of going all over the place when we're doing this, but we can get them to settle a little bit. And then we're just going to take this.
Feels like there's juice still left in
And
here.
we're just going to set it right down. I think we may need to try to brush those off. It's in my butt side. We're going to brush these bees off just in case. We don't want to set this down and then squish a whole bunch of bees. So, and we would dump this, but it's still pretty heavy. And we don't know if that's bees or if that's still that they've got some liquid nectar in there. So now what we're going to do, because we took that out, we don't want to leave that space open. We want to fill it with frames. That way that gives them more space to fill up, because we don't want that empty space in the winter. It'll give space that it could let this get cold and stuff. So we've got 2 new frames. We're going to go ahead and fill it in and make sure that that space is taken up. Okay, so
frames.
1 more frame.
That's 10 frames.
So, because this is a 10 frame hive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when you hear 8 frame and 10 frame, that's what that means. Just depends on how many frames are in here. So you can see the difference. This is a new frame. These are the old frames. So you can see how much they've changed the color with their wax and stuff and being on them and things like that. So so what John's doing right now is he's just getting off the extra the bar comb, as they call it, the extra wax that they've built on there. And it just kind of keeps it clean, keeps them kind of focusing where they need to put, even though they still like to attach everything together. You can see all of what they call propolis all along here. And this is actually their way of water sealing. They will actually seal it tight so that water can't get in. So they're very smart little creatures. So this is where they're probably going to be a little not so happy with us, because we're going to mess with some stuff and try to get them out of this, because we can't take a whole bunch of bees with us. They need to go back into their home. So we're going to have to, this is where we're going to kind of probably not make them so very happy. And this is actually a brush. It's made out of horsehair, and it's really soft, and it doesn't like damage their wings or anything. Or so usually what you would do is they have a stuff that you can actually spray in the hood of your hive that will force the bees down, because they don't like the smell of it and stuff. But we don't have that, so we're going to have to do this. So it is what it is, and they will all be fine. A little violent there, sir. So as you can see, like that was 2 frames and there's nothing built on them. So they have, this hive has really put all of their energy into putting their stores down in the main hive. They want it there. They want it there for their brood during the winter, and to keep them fed and keep the hive healthy. Whoops. So we're gonna keep cleaning off the frames and we'll be back. So here we are with our last frame, and you can see it glistening. They didn't have it quite capped, but that's okay. We can still use it, and you can see all the bees that are on this. So here it goes. Like I said, not ideal for what you want to do, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. And we've got bees that are got their little heads in here working, but now we want them to go down and do this on those frames that we put in and make up their stores. And come on, little bees, there we go. So now they can fill this frame in and get that ready instead, so that they can have that food. So what we're going to be doing next, like we said, it's a little early, and we know that, and it's okay, but it's also going to get really cold, and we know our pollen supply is pretty well done, our pollen and nectar, because as of Monday we're going to have below freezing temperatures consistently, so that's going to pretty much take away what they have. So instead of them using up all of this honey in here, we want them to be able to have that for a while. And a lot of people will let them use up all of this and then start with what we call a candy board. But we want to try something a little different. We want to go ahead and let them have this, but also help them out. So this is what's called a candy board. We left holes so it's easier for them to access. This is actually 18 pounds of sugar that was mixed and then hardened onto this frame, and that will sit right on top of here so that they are able to very easily access it. When it gets really cold, they don't move a lot, they stay very tight together, they move their wings to help heat and keep the hive warm, so they don't use energy going in a lot of places. So this is the candy board, and we don't know how long this will last. We'll see, but they're easy to make. All you do is you mix sugar with a little bit of water and then press it in here, and then it hardens. And we did add what they call Hive Alive, but it's our own. It is a mixture of spearmint oil, lemongrass, and sugar water, and so we did mix some of that in there. So then the box, to keep from us having a lot of humidity, then goes on top of that. And like I said, this is made so the bees can't come up in here. They won't come up into the burlap. And then that's it. The lids will go back on and they will be good to go. And now's when we will come in and check, but we probably won't be checking too much. As long as we see activity, we'll know that they're good, and we'll just leave them be, because we don't need to be checking. What we will do probably in another week or so is we're going to put mite treatment in there for them to get them all treated for mites, because that is one of the things that does bees in pretty quick during the winter, is if they have mites, they can't fight them and keep living. So we will give them mite treatment, but they've got food. We will hopefully get all these bees back in, which we will, because the queen will call them in, and so will all their buddies and stuff. So they will work their way up and go inside and do their thing. So the bees would not leave this alone, so we had to bring it in here so that we could get undressed and get ourselves together. But these are the frames that we ended up with, and you can see that there is honey. So you can actually see that this is the original frame, and then you can see how they have built up, and you can see the shininess in there. So that would be nectar, and that is considered honey when it's capped like that. Okay, so here we go. So normally, woohoo, look at all that. Normally what you would do is you would take this little thing and you would come through and you would remove all of the little cappings. But there isn't that much that is capped. Or you would come down it with, you would heat this up and then come down the front of the frame like this and take the capping off. But once again, there's not much capped. So we are just actually scraping the entire thing down and into cheesecloth, which is sitting in a strainer. So it's probably going to be our best bet. We don't have a spinner to spin it, so we can't do that. We only have 2.5 frames of stuff anyway, so it really there wouldn't be a point of it. So anyway, so that's what we're doing. And we'll end up with a little bit of honey out of it and a little bit of wax and a lot of mess. Right?
Hopefully not
a
too
lot of
much.
mess. So, oh, this will be a good one to watch. Let's do it from this angle so you can see it come down. Ooh, isn't that a pretty sight? Yum, 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 yum. I stole it. Ooh, yummy. Want to taste some? Good stuff. So what'll happen is we'll let this sit and drain through the cheesecloth down into the pot, and then we'll take it and squeeze some of it as well and see if we can get some more out of it. So, yum! Yay! Our first harvest. So now we're gonna let it just sit and drip and do its thing. Look at all that yummy honey.